Hello everybody, this is Ronry as always. I made a much longer video, but the first half of it accidentally got deleted because, oh my god, it cut me off recording mid-word because it ran out of storage on the device outside of Google Photos. And I accidentally deleted part one while I was cleaning up said storage. And I didn't realize it until after I recorded the rest of the video. So I will have to record the long version of it at a later time. But I am coming to terms with something that I discovered through doing legal research recently. For those of you who don't follow me on Twitch, I react to true crime a lot. And I was one night very distracted from true crime and I could not focus. So I pulled out a journal and I wrote down the charges I thought my ex would face for what he did to me in 2021 when I was pregnant with his child. And I wrote down things such as aggravated sexual assault and aggravated assault, um, kidnapping, and false imprisonment. And I wrote down the statutes of limitations for all those, and then I tried looking into what what legal definitions fit the situation the best, and what it seems to have been was because Texas does not define slavery as separate from trafficking. It was trafficking of persons, and because it happened on a time span of more than 30 days, it was continuous trafficking of persons. So I'm coming to terms with the fact that the abuse I faced in Texas was actually like considered human trafficking, and the FBI has to investigate it. Mm. That's really hard to wrap my head around. How one state can define it as just slavery, and another state can define the exact same thing as trafficking. And it makes it feel like I'm lying when I say it was trafficking, even though it apparently was pretty textbook trafficking. But for some reason, this time trafficking in Texas, I feel like I can't claim that title because nobody else was paying for access to me like it was the first two times that I was trafficked, um, by two different people. Well, it was one person in one state and then two people in another state. The first time was the cult that's in the files, uh, the cult that Epstein was in. That cult held me as a sex slave and sold me to other people, um, as a sex slave. Sold access to me, not me in totality. You know what I mean. They sold access to me, and that is textbook trafficking. And then in Buffalo, New York, I fell for a nanny scam and was trafficked for these two parents that were addicted to crack. Um, they were using my body to pay for the crack. That is cut and dry. It's trafficking. But for some reason, the romance scam, I have trouble accepting that he never loved me because of the way he would look at me sometimes. In those moments, I could tell he loved me. But he would enact violence on me if I refused to do what he said. He would enact violence on me if I tried to leave. Um, and after he was done forcing me to do things that I would not have done if it weren't under the threat of violence, after he was done forcing me to do them, he would then enact violence upon me. So my strategy was to do what he said, but distract him and stall. Stall for as many hours by doing what he's forcing me to do. Because I knew as soon as the game was up and the camera was off, he would start picking on me, and regardless of if I fought back or not, regardless of if I engaged with him or not, regardless of if I did the gray rock method or not, he would enact violence upon me. Yep. She jizzed on me. Well, we'll end the video on a high note. Um, you're just gonna rub it in my face, huh? You're just gonna rub it in my face. uh, yeah, if you've been trafficked before and you can lend me some guidance on coming to accept the term trafficking, um, I would love to hear I'm not alone. It's one thing to be told I'm not alone by people who haven't been through it, but it's another thing to actually meet the people who are going through what I'm going through. And I would, you know, hell, I'm sure somebody with enough common sense can convince me that if Texas defines it as trafficking, it was trafficking. But it just feels like stolen valor to call it that. Alright, I will see you on the next one. Love you. Bye.